I'm Aidan, and this is The Big Show. Joining me now is Katie Sidebotham, the VP for Students of Environmental Awareness. So, can you tell us about how you first got involved with this organization?
Yeah, so I did a lot of work in environmentalism in high school. I ended up getting a job at Panera, where I just worked in the back. I cleaned tables. And the first thing I realized is how, despite them having a recycling bin, they don't actually recycle it all, and they end up wasting a lot of food at the end of the day. And so that kind of got me interested in what happens in schools and what happens in other restaurants. And so I did a lot of outreach to different universities and orgs in New Jersey, and one of the institutions is Rutgers, because I was actually going to apply here for college. And so I reached out to Students for Environmental Awareness, which is the largest environmental club on campus at the time, and still is. And they kind of just took me in right away. Even before I decided to come to Rutgers, they were very, very welcoming and really, really open to some of the ideas I wanted to bring. And so by freshman year, I was already involved with them a lot, and I actually started a campaign focused on food waste and food insecurity because I was so passionate about that. And from there, it was just kind of an uphill battle of trying to connect with the community more and understand more what are some of the issues that the local community is having and Rutgers is having, and how we can kind of push that forward. And I'm really happy to have this position as VP because I have a lot more flexibility and power to make some of those decisions.
Nice. And in terms of universities, because you mentioned, what do you think their role is in terms of advocating for sustainability and all that?
Yeah, I think they play a huge role just because they're housing a whole new generation of change. Like, as the youth, we have a lot of enthusiasm, passion, specifically for things, social causes like environmentalism and global warming, because that's such a crucial issue that's impacting our generation. I think that the institutions play a huge role in giving students that freedom, the resources, the money, the people to actually push their own ideas and bring them to fruition. On issues like environmentalism.
So could you talk about more of what your organization does in terms of events and hosting them?
Yeah, of course. So we kind of changed the structure of our organization year by year, depending on the leadership. Back when I was a freshman, we had one campaign that was specifically just called a climate campaign, focused on doing bigger or tackling bigger issues at Rutgers, including divestment, which we actually accomplished, which is amazing. And so when we kind of made it past that first milestone, the leadership decided to kind of break off into different campaigns that were tackling smaller issues at Rutgers and in the local community. So that's where I came in and I created the food waste campaign called Seafood. And we have a bunch of other campaigns that are doing similar tackling similar local issues in the area. So we have Seafood, which is tackling food waste and food insecurity. We have SEAT, which is tackling transportation at Rutgers and in the local community. So promoting biking, creating biking lanes, making it, building more awareness around safe biking practices, and trying to sway people away from, taking buses, using a lot of cars, because those emissions do end up going a lot towards, the impact of global warming. We also have a new campaign that's focused on recycling. So there's a lot of issues that come about in terms of not knowing what to recycle, a lot of people just throwing out recycling, and there's also the misconception of, recycling just being thrown in the trash, which oftentimes is the case. And then we have another campaign focused on coalition building. So one of the things that happened pre-pandemic was we had a coalition of all the sustainability orgs on campus called SUSCO, and that was an amazing initiative because it essentially brought everyone who's passionate about the environment together to tackle a lot of these issues that we were looking at. And it was because of SUSCO that we were able to create the Office of Climate Action, which is a new office specifically focused on climate action. So we have a new campaign focused on bringing that org back together because pandemic kind of fizzled that away. But I think the one thing about Rutgers, since it's so big, you want to kind of find ways to build that coalition, not just within the university, but also with other universities in surrounding areas like Princeton, who are doing a lot of great work too. Right. And so, yeah, generally speaking, we just have a lot of smaller campaigns, which gives a lot of freedom to our members too. If you're interested in something, you can come and like propose this new campaign, propose a new idea that you think could help impact the local community in Rutgers in terms of sustainability.
And on that note, how exactly would someone get involved if they were interested?
Yeah. Well, we have our meetings weekly on Mondays on the Cook Duck Student Center. And similar to my experience, I literally just reached out and I said I was passionate about something specific in environmentalism. And because our organization is so broad, it allows for a lot of freedom in what students can kind of bring to the table when they join the organization. So if you're interested in anything, like even if it's not related to any of the campaigns I just said, we want those new ideas to be brought in because there's always more room for improvement. Even though Rutgers is doing an awesome job in being more sustainable, there's always more room for improvement in that field. So if there is any interest at all, we definitely encourage just coming, like trying out how we work. We do a lot of like campaign meetings. We do a lot of fun meetings. We do a lot of trips. We recently had a picnic where we helped with revamping compost on the Cook Dug campus, as well as picking up recycling and trash around the Passion Puddle. So there's a wide variety of things that you can do. So that's why if you have like a glimpse of any interest in environmentalism, it's awesome to kind of bring your ideas to the table and see how we can improve as a club.
And going back to your idea of campaigns, how exactly have you guys used maybe social media, for example, to advocate and spread those ideas to other people?
Yeah, so before I was VP, I was actually a social media manager for SCA, which gave me a lot of freedom on social media, and I definitely agree in the sense that social media is an awesome platform for getting the name out for our events, but also just like awareness on different events that are happening in New Jersey and in the local community that we feel the Rutgers community should know about. So we've used social media to post about our collaboration with other orgs, and I think social media has allowed us to kind of repost things from other orgs, like the climate strike. We were there and we collaborated a lot with other organizations, and it's on social media that we get a lot of connections from people who are not just in Rutgers, but from other organizations across the state. In our compost club, we've done a lot of work with actual local New Brunswick volunteers who come and bring their compost, and they essentially access all of their the information of what we do on social media. So social media just gives us that extra platform to outreach to people who don't go to the university, but who are still interested in helping Rutgers and helping the local community. So as a social media manager, we did do a lot of work in bringing awareness to also different achievements that Rutgers has accomplished. So within the past couple of years, we achieved divestment, and that was one of our most liked posts because not a lot of people at Rutgers actually knew about that. So bringing awareness to some of the achievements Rutgers does is also a great way to show that Rutgers is doing a pretty good job in becoming a more sustainable university. But like I said, there's always more room for improvement, and that's also a way we use social media to kind of urge the administration to do some of the things they aren't currently doing.
Everything that you talked about so far, where exactly could someone go to find this? Like, where are you guys located? Any social media handle that they could follow, stuff like that?
Yeah. So we meet on Mondays at 9 to 10 p.m. at the Cook Douglas Student Center in person. And we do a lot of active posts on social media. Our Instagram is ruckers.sca. And we also have a website called rutgerssca.com as well. And we post most of our updates, announcements, achievements, anything really related to what our club does on our Instagram. So I'd say that's the easiest way to catch up on what we do as an organization and also see when our next meeting is or see when our events are. Other than that, I'd say if you are interested, you could also email us at ruckers.sca@gmail.com. me or some other representative of the organization is always willing and open and excited to talk about anything related to environmentalism. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate your time, Katie. And of course, thank you for watching. And this is The Big Show.